Welcome, everybody, to our Thursday talk and happy holidays. Welcome from the Manhattan Center and Peace Village Retreat Center. We are so glad that you are able to join us today. So, for those of you that have seen the flyer, there's been a slight change to the program. It was Shweta that was supposed to be on the flyer, and we're going to have Sister Rona with us today. So I'm sure we'll be seeing Shweta soon, coming in the near future. Couple of welcomes to everybody that is on Zoom. Thank you for joining us today. And for those that are on YouTube Live and Facebook, we're so happy that you can set aside your time to spend the evening with us. So the Thursday series is a weekly talk, and you will have all kinds of different speakers and just all ranges of topics. So we encourage you to visit each Thursday. And if you haven't already registered or passed on the information to others, please do so. The other two things that we have on a daily basis is Power Boost. And Power Boost is every day at noon and Monday through Friday. And then we also have Good Night Meditation if you just want to wind down your day with us. Some fantastic teachers that really help you just take 15 minutes and just to wrap up your day. So, and that's Monday through Saturday at 8 o'clock, and on Sundays it's at 7:30. So thank you for being here and signing up for all of our fantastic meditations. So today we have Sister Rona with us, and where she's going to be sharing with us about the gift is you. And I really wished I would have had this when I was younger, because I probably spent way too much money buying gifts for people that they didn't even want and they didn't even like. And also trying to get out during the holiday season and getting last minute gifts. Do you know how stressful that can be? So I really wish I could have just said, hey, I'm your gift, free of charge. So, but I'm looking forward to the topic and listening to Sister Rona just explain to us how we can save a lot of money. All right. Om Shanti, have a great talk.
Thank you, Suja. Can not only save a lot of money, we can save ourselves some time also, looking for all those gifts, and lots of stress in all the busyness of looking for gifts. But maybe we can start with a moment of silence before we dive into this topic. Thank you. One of the gifts in life is silence also. Just wanted to mention that. There are actually so many things that are gifts that we take for granted and that we not even realize maybe. And this taking a break, taking a moment of silence here and there, those are to nurture the self. Those are gifts for the self. to come back to what is essential, to come back to what is important, to as if ground the self and touch base with what is your aim and what really is sensible and close to your heart. Moments of silence here and there are very useful for that, to recharge, to create a bigger perspective, to remind the self of the bigger perspective, and to come out of entangled situations. Just a moment of silent reflection, and those are gifts that nurture us. But today's topic, the gift is you. And in this holiday season, there is, of course, much ado about gifts, 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 gifts. And we have created a culture worldwide of giving gifts, of receiving gifts, of buying gifts, of looking for gifts, of thinking about gifts. And everybody loves gifts. Everybody likes to get gifts, for at least everybody likes to receive gifts. And most people, if not everyone deep inside, also likes to give gifts. So what is it behind this giving and receiving that makes us happy, or at least makes us think that it will make us happy? And we live also in a culture where many things are done often in an automatic mode. They are done because they have always been done. They are done because we were taught that they have to be done. They are done because on television and the advertisements tell us that this is how we celebrate, this is how we show each other that we love each other, that we care, this is how we are merry, happy. But much of that can be done in a sort of robotic mode, in an automated mode. Beforehand, we decide how much money we can spend on a gift, and so the gift has to fall within that budget, otherwise forget it. So much of it has lost the maybe deeper value behind. And it is useful to ask ourselves, if we spend time, if we spend money, let us do it with wholeheartedly. And let us do it with meaning. And then actually, the gift doesn't need to be expensive. If someone gives you a gift that is handmade, for example, many of us will give it a more value because you feel that person has thought of you, has put in so much effort, personal effort, has put in something of themselves in that gift, their creativity, their vision, and they made something specially for you. That gift becomes much more valuable for many of us. And if it is someone who is really very dear and close to you, you appreciate it even more than if it is maybe a very expensive gift, but just bought in the store and not spent too much time and energy on it. There is also this culture these days of wrapping the gifts nicely. Sometimes the wrapping is nicer than what is inside. You don't want to take apart the wrapping because it is so beautiful and so neatly done, and it's so much precision and so much thought behind it. So the whole aspect of giving gifts has an angle to it of energy and time and feelings that are put into the act of giving, and the receiver feels that it has extra value then. And maybe still, I'm not too sure about it. I hardly hear it anymore, but there was a time when we used to write things with our gifts, not just name and for whom and some good wishes and that's it, but we used to write things about the person who we are giving it for, what that person means to me, what qualities that person has, and so the gift itself was just a part of the total gift. There was a kind of a poem or a little writing about the person that goes with it. And so it made the whole thing more meaningful and with higher quality. Now, doing that reveals more about the giver of the gift. And the same thing can be given by someone else without that feeling and those emotions and those extra care and those extra sentiments around the gift, because that other person is different and that relationship may also be different. So the whole giving of gifts, it reveals actually something about the giver. And it reveals something about the relationship between the giver and the receiver. Unfortunately, I feel today, much of that sweetness and that warmth and that appreciation and that showing of care and showing of knowing each other at a deeper level has gone away in this present day culture and present day celebrations. And sometimes gifts are given just because it is kind of compulsory. And yeah, they give me gifts, so I have to give something, and then you kind of see if you have something around the house that is new enough to give, or you quickly go get something. The deeper feelings behind are missing, or they are different. They might not be missing, but they are different. And especially this time of the year where there's so much ado about gifts, and now with the pandemic, people were telling me that they were already doing their Christmas shopping in September because it had to be done on Amazon and you have to have your gifts on time and it may have to come from another country before you get it. So there was so much energy and time and also money spent on celebrating Christmas or celebrating whatever holiday or festival you're celebrating this period of time. So much was going into it, but how much of those more refined feelings went into that? And maybe that is actually what it all started out for. Because the act of giving something, the deeper message behind is, I care about you. And I care enough to show you and to give you something. And another deeper aspect behind giving is giving something to enrich another, to entertain another, to to share some beautiful memories, to appreciate and to show appreciation. And that might be getting lost if we just in bulk buy some bottles of apple cider or whatever and give to everyone to finish with it. So reflect a little bit on how can we add that sparkle and that deeper meaning behind these activities and these acts of giving. And receiving is something similar. We all also like to receive. It's kind of amazing to sometimes observe human behavior when they get something. They get something for free. Even some pen, everybody likes to get things. They may be rich, they may be having plenty money, they may be able to buy the most expensive pen, but if they get something for free, if they receive something, people like it. Because it may, deeper inside, we interpret it as I matter. Someone cares for me. I am worthy of receiving something. And that makes us feel good. It makes us feel good. And also giving. Now, most of us enjoy giving. These things are part of our deeper innate nature. Receiving and giving. But that giving, if it can be done in a clean way, in a purely loving way, in a selfless way, it adds to the value of the action. And the same way in receiving, can I wholeheartedly receive? Can I receive and returning those feelings of open-heartedness and warmth and care by, in a dignified way, accepting what is being offered. All of these things have to do with a clean mind and a clean heart. And so giving a physical gift, giving someone a pen or giving someone shoes or whatever, that is just the physical part of it. But the hand that is giving, the heart and the mind behind the gift, that may be actually the real gift. Giving and receiving, and especially during festivities, it is all about company also. It means there is someone who accompanies me, at least one other person, otherwise there is not a giving and taking. People gather. And so, are you good company? Yes, you brought a gift, but are you nice and pleasant company also? You yourself also, even if you get a gift, you would like to get it from someone who is pleasant and good company. And so actually, if it really comes down to it, it is not about that physical thing. No, it may be nice and it may be useful and it may be even something beautiful. But the one who is bringing the gift, the one who is giving the gift, is actually much more important. So this is maybe a very good realization for ourselves. And as Suja was saying, if I realized this when I was younger, but it is never too late to make a good, interaction. Nothing wrong with a physical gift, but what is your state of mind? What are the words that you are speaking? What is the atmosphere that you are bringing with you? What are the vibrations that you spread? What are the feelings you have in your heart for everyone else? What is the attitude with which you approach the gathering? That makes you the most important part of the gift, if not the gift. Now, then the question comes, what quality of gift are you? And can we truly give selflessly? Can we truly offer a mind that is cleanly loving, a mind that is peaceful, a mind that is enthusiastic, a mind that is appreciative and respectful, selflessly, not with calculation. Oh, if I give this gift, then I will get that gift back. If I give a gift of at least $25, then at least I should get something back of $25. Not calculating. How can we create a mind like that? Those are deeper questions. But at the same time, the holiday season is also a time for some deeper reflection. Now, most of the festivals have some deeper spiritual or religious meaning that started the tradition. And although much of the things can easily be commercialized, there is still some religious or even spiritual root to many of our festivals and celebrations. And so to take this time to also deeper reflect on the deeper meaning of these festivals. And we just had Hanukkah, the Jewish festival, where every day a light is lit and that light stays on, and then another day a new light comes on. It has its deeper meaning within that tradition and that religion. Christmas is coming up. Even New Year, these are all, they have deeper meanings. And so it is also a time that we can reflect on that deeper meaning and bring out that more what is the word? Bring value to that gathering by living the spirit, the true spirit of that festival. Now, for example, one of the deeper messages within the Christian tradition is the message of love and love others. Love thy neighbor as thou love thyself, one of the commandments. the message of Christ is God is the Father and we are all children. So we are brothers. So we should love each other in a love of brotherhood. Now, when we are giving our gifts and when we are celebrating those festivals and those gatherings, can we embody that love of brotherhood and share that kind of warmth with each other? Then things have a deeper meaning. But further and deeper reflections can also be done, and especially all of you who have deeper spiritual interests, this is a very good time to examine ourselves. And do we have to wait for celebrations? Do we have to wait for Christmas? Do we have to wait for Diwali? Do we have to wait for holiday seasons to be the gift and to give gifts? Can our whole existence not be a gift? And cannot every word, every action, every thought, every feeling that we have be a gift for everyone? Not just those 2 or 3 or 4 with whom I am closely associated or who are invited to the party, but for whole of humanity. And that brings the value of who you are to a completely different level also. To create a much broader awareness. And there are many things in this world that are unpleasant. There are many things in this world that are problematic. There are many things in this world that are painful and even disastrous. And there is a lot of sorrow and misery in this world. But even though all of that is there, people still celebrate. And people still like gifts. And people still like giving. And people still like receiving. Now, within that context, maybe the state of the world is telling us that we need to up our game. And that maybe nature, the condition of society, it is like life is telling us that we have to shift more deeply. And that our awareness and our consciousness should broaden and open up. And that our whole existence, that we need to reconsider the way we position ourselves in life and in this world. And that it truly is not about taking, but that it is truly about giving. And then people will say, yeah, but I can only give what I have. And that is true, but maybe we don't realize what we truly have. And this is where deeper spiritual knowledge comes in. And this is why it is useful to have moments of silent reflections, to make time for meditation, to begin to discover what you truly already have, from where and from which you can give and share. And that you don't need to go out to buy gifts to show value and appreciation. Nothing wrong with those gifts, but real value and appreciation and real quality of action and interaction is not in those gifts. It is in you. Who you are, what you are, your perspective, your wisdom, your clean-heartedness. But we need to be awake to this latent beauty within, this sleeping beauty within, you could say. We need to, as if, wake up and wake up that beauty that is within. And the knowledge behind the body of knowledge that the Brahma Kumaris offers and the knowledge behind the meditation that we teach has some beautiful, very simple, basic understandings about who you truly are and the gift that is you. And I'll use the whiteboard for some moments to sketch and to help us visualize this whole aspect, which makes it easier to understand. But before we go there, maybe are there any questions or comments so far? Anyone would like to say anything so far? You can open your mic, and if you want to come into the camera, just be aware that there is a recording going on, but if you want to say something, ask something, feel free. Now is the time. Someone no.
No, nothing's in the chat right now, Sister Ron.
You can also put in the chat if you want. Okay, then we will go to the whiteboard. Someone shared the other day that one of the problems these days, or one of the illnesses these days in society in general is that our thinking and our understandings of things have become too superficial, and that we do not take time to question ourselves some essential questions about ourselves and about life. And we go about our daily routine, and our whole life can be passed like that, in a bit of a superficial and robotic way. Everything becomes a routine, and things become sometimes, because of that, meaningless. And when things are meaningless, there is not a deeper fulfillment about ourselves, about our life, about the things we do, about our relationships. This art of giving meaning, finding meaning, adding meaning, that is what gives a sense of attainment and fulfillment and joy and happiness, and what makes things worthwhile. Now, one big area where we hardly ever question is this understanding of who I am. Most of us, we kind of grow up with some vague idea of our personality and our qualities. And some of us maybe more clearer idea of interests and drives and what we have as aim or goal in our lives. But even that can still remain at a limited or superficial level. And when within the context of meditation, we ask ourselves this question, who am I? One aspect that is useful to highlight is to sorry, I can't find the right word, to come to that part of us that is not perishable. And so many things that we may be doing or that we pay attention to or that we feel are important are things that just nurture or feed the temporary part of us, or are things for a temporary period. Whilst there is very little reflection and attention paid to that what is non-physical and therefore not perishable. When we think of ourselves, often we think of the self in terms of the body. We think of ourselves in terms of gender, female or male. We think of ourselves in terms of ethnic background or cultural background, color of skin. We think of ourselves in terms of our social background and we belong to a certain family, having a certain education, belonging to a certain country, and part of that country, a state, certain language, a certain job, maybe certain financial background, and family and friends. This is often the self-image we carry. And someone with a certain personality, maybe someone with certain interests and a certain ideology. But all of these things are very much connected with the body and the physical appearance. The whole area of meditation opens us up to a completely different dimension and helps us be aware of the self as a non-physical being of consciousness. And we use this image of light, star or a point of light, to indicate this being of consciousness, like an invisible presence who uses this body to experience and express and plays out a certain part, a certain physical personality. But this being of consciousness, and another word for this being of consciousness is soul. This is the real self. And this being is timeless, imperishable. And because this being is timeless and imperishable, if we live in this awareness of the true self being this invisible presence, imperishable, there is the possibility, once we are awake to this reality, awake to this awareness, a deeper state of feeling secure emerges in the mind. Once we know ourselves as these higher beings of consciousness, and this body is a vehicle. This body is a temporary tool to express, to interact, to experiment, to experience. But the real self is this being of light, timeless, immortal being. This awareness has the absolute potential to make us feel 100% secure. And when we feel secure, then the feelings that come from a mind that experiences that 100% security, those feelings are clean. There is a peace even under provocation. Then there is a love without conditions, love without neediness. Because when one experiences that deep sense of being secure, you feel you need nothing. You want to give everything. Someone who feels like that is the best company. Someone who feels like that, you want to be in their company all the time. Just their vibrations are so soothing, calming, warm. Now, to be the best gift for others, it is useful to be in this soul conscious state, soul aware state. Very useful to explore and to experiment this soul consciousness. Then not only the gift is you, but then you will be the highest gift, the best gift. And just your presence will lift everyone. Just your presence will bring calm and warmth and joy and love to the gathering and the atmosphere. Others will feel that selflessness and that pure kind of warmth and care, and that love of brotherhood that I was talking about, that applies to the soul. All our souls, all are spiritually brothers. Now the reflections and the meditations are aimed to pull us more and more into this awareness of soul consciousness, so that we can play our part and interact with others, being the best gift. Every thought becomes a gift. Every interaction becomes a gift. Our attitude, our vision towards others becomes clean. And then we are the best gift. So make time to understand these aspects of knowledge properly, and dedicate time to meditate and to cultivate this waking stage, this awareness of the self as an invisible, timeless being of consciousness, innately secure, because this real self is imperishable. Even body may go, but consciousness doesn't stop and transcends the limitations of the body. The soul is a guest in this body, a guest in this physical world for a temporary period of time, playing this game, traveling through time and space. But when all these temporary and perishable things fall away, the real self, the soul, continues to exist. Thank you. Any thoughts or questions so far?
No questions so far, but Sister Rona, so if we're on a spiritual journey and we're just starting out, and we have a question, so let me go to that. Very insightful presentation. So if we're starting the spiritual journey and we're trying to figure out how we're making ourselves the gift, but we're in this big machinery of consumerism. And especially in America, it's if you don't buy a gift, or if you're in a home that's very traditional, how do we, transition, I guess, ourselves and others to not have that expectation of the gifts? I think that's been the hardest, especially if you're just coming into spirituality and trying to find that consciousness.
It is not that we don't give physical gifts. Nothing is. So if that has been the tradition and if that has been the custom and habit all along, then maybe it is not such a good thing to all of a sudden not do all of that anymore. But add that special touch. Yeah. And maybe also, if it is like a family situation or a friend's type of situation, you could beforehand suggest, could we this year maybe have a celebration that is a bit different? Where it is not about the physical gifts, but what can you add? What can you give in another way? Can we be creative in that? So that itself becomes a gift to offer people. I remember many, many years ago, um, that is what we did with my parents and siblings, uh, that I suggested beforehand, shall we make this year the holiday season a bit different? And they were all curious. And I said, most of us, many of us don't really have much time anyway to go out shopping and find gifts. Shall we make it, what is it, not compulsory, but also shall we, what was it? I don't remember the words, how we said it, but everyone had to make a gift for one other person. And that making didn't need to be anything big either. It could be something creative, a drawing or a poem or anything. And that was the most joyful gift session we had in years. And it brought us so much closer together. So be sensible and don't be, how to say, we do not necessarily have to break the feelings of others. But at the same time, these are also times where we can make ourselves and each other aware of the fact of there are so many people in this world who have to do without many things. So maybe the true spirit of celebrating is more in gratitude and feelings of togetherness rather than spending so much on all kinds of gifts, which many times may not even be useful. I remember getting gifts that I thought, this is just a nuisance. How to get rid of this now? And then you end up giving it away. But for that person, it is just as useless also as it was for you. Horrible, actually. No? And living in a world where there are people who don't have many things, to just be able to come together, to share warmth and love and care, to be grateful, that in itself is a beautiful thing. And to put more attention on that. It needs a little bit courage because you're doing things out of the ordinary. It needs a little bit of courage to suggest something new when people like to hold on to the way things are. But maybe time is asking us to shake ourselves and to shake each other a little bit in a friendly way, in a loving way, but nevertheless. Even the pandemic going on, still raging and apparently going into a new phase again. These are messages from nature, messages from matter that we need to change something. Some positioning, some mental positioning of ours. We need to change it. Lifestyle that we have led for many, many decades, nature is not supporting it anymore. And it's sending us messages through many different calamities and phenomena. And one of them is this COVID-19 virus and all its mutations that are now coming out. It is forcing us to change our inner positioning. And let us use the holiday season to, first of all, reflect, but also to help each other discover that we can do things differently. And that doing things differently doesn't mean less quality, actually, maybe more quality, and maybe more of the quality that we deep inside truly want. So, but if you do feel to give gifts, and if it is a strong tradition, then add something. Give it something, add a value to it, add a virtue to it, give it a poem, shift attention to something more deeper, that it doesn't stay so just a superficial giving of a gift. Be creative and make it fun for yourself also. What would you like to receive? And then give that to others. Hope that helps or gives you ideas.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Well, is there some other? Okay. Then let's close with some meditation. I will guide give some thoughts. And take a few moments to consciously remind yourself that we always have a choice. And that choice is to be in the robot mode and to just do things and go about the routines in the way that always have been kind of a survival mode. The other option is to be aware of the broader picture and hold that bigger perspective on life and on self. And on adding meaning and quality. Just remind the self that we exist as invisible, timeless beings of consciousness. Just hold in the mind the image of a star, of a tiny star, being of light, timeless, an invisible presence. One who is like the driver of this body, which is like a vehicle, operating as if from the center of the forehead, behind the eyes, tiny living light. Perishable being, free, pure, innately divine. A being of peace. One who is a guest in this body, a guest on this planet. A timeless, imperishable, living light. Let us aim to go through the holiday season with this awareness. The light is you. The gift is you. And come back to this awareness repeatedly. And remind others also that they are also living lights. Remind them with words if possible, but at least through your attitude and through your vision. All of us are souls, the living lights, brothers. Thank you. And all our most auspicious wishes and pure feelings, not only for the holiday season, but also for the new year, but for the rest of your journey.